He's all ready to get us underway tonight. And Cliff Lee into the line, and his first pitch tonight is outside for ball one. Can't say I remember Cliff Lee wearing the blues at home before the start.
When I watched him running out early today, I said, blues, that looks strange. I felt like I was out on the road.
That pitch is outside, 2-0. Cliff Lee, though, in the month of June, this is when he really has been dominant in his career. 28 June starts, and he's 15-4 with a 3.87 ERA. But he's missed with the first three to Coco here to start the game. Here's Trey Hillman looking for his 100th career victory at the helm of the Kansas City Royals. Meanwhile, Cliff Lee looking for win number 80 in his career. There's a strike to Coco, and the count goes 3-1.
Well, it's been a miserable road trip for the Royals. They are 1-5 on a 9-game trip. They're going to end it here before heading home for interleague play. And they ended that one win ended a 8-game losing streak.
Full count as Coco stood up and watched it pass by.
They had to face Doc Halladay in Toronto, who shut them down. And now they come here after an off day yesterday. They get Cliff Lee. It doesn't get any easier, does it?
Not at all. Here's the payoff pitch, and he missed down low. So a leadoff walk for Coco Crisp. And we'll take a look now at the injury report brought to you by the law firm of Nuremberg, Paris. Ohio's injury lawyers since 1928. Call 1-800-399-2300. For the Indians, the key injuries there right at the top. Cabrera, Betancourt, Sizemore, and Laffey, all critical injuries. And there you see the list of wounded players for the Royals. Saw Jake Westbrook before the ball game in the Indians clubhouse. He continues his comeback trail. He's throwing the ball well. 3 innings his last rehab stint. Feels like he's on schedule.
It's just good to see his face, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Haven't seen him all year. It's just, yeah, he was a missing addition in that clubhouse, that's for sure.
Indians would like to get him back, maybe even before the All-Star break if all continues to go well, and that would certainly be a welcome return. David DeJesus, a .232 hitter so far on the year, but in his career, a .293 batter against the Indians, and this year a .281 average against the Tribe. Fouls it back, 1 ball, 2 strikes. What's really been disappointing for DeJesus this year has been his futility against the left-handers. Even as a left-handed hitter, he's always swung the bat respectably well against left-handers. But this year, just a .164 average against the Southpaws.
Well, he always finds a way, I guess, Matt, when he plays us, he swings the bat very well for some strange reason.
Pops this one up. Left side of the infield. Carroll, the third baseman, calling for it. And he's got it one away. Check out our Firestone League leaders. Firestone, a tradition of innovation. And when it comes to run support, Cliff Lee has been sorely lacking, although they did get him a whole bunch of runs his last time out.
Okay, now you see that's .384 on the season. But at home here in his 6 starts, he is 1-4, and they're averaging 1.29 runs of support for him here. So he gets more of it out on the road, as we said earlier today, than their offense seems to be much better. They score more, they hit more home runs.
This is fouled out of play. There you look at it at home.
2.14 ERA. That's not too shabby. And yeah, no runs 3 times out of those 6 runs of support. All he can do is continue to go out there and give your team a chance. It was Bannister that these two matched up before in his first start here on the 22nd, where Bannister ended up beating the Indians 2-0, and that was up against Cliff Lee.
Billy Butler, a 4-game hitting streak coming in, and a guy who will swing the bat, does not walk often. That's up high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Butler is without a walk in his last 17 games and has only walked 1 time in his last 23. And yet he still carries a .281 average into play. Here's a tapper to second. A double play nicely turned by Barfield and Valbuena, and the inning is over. The leadoff walk does no damage. And now Victor Martinez and company will bring the bats to the plate when we come back. Back here at Progressive Field, Cliff Lee showing the love after Valbuena and Barfield turned that inning-ending double play. Here's the Tribes lineup brought to you by Progressive Insurance, proud to be the official auto insurance provider of the Cleveland Indians. Francisco, Carroll, Martinez, Chu, DeRosa, Hafner, Shopik, Valbuena, and Barfield. Ben Francisco looks at a first pitch strike now from Brian Bannister. Francisco coming off a 5 for 26 performance on the road trip. Chopper to third, foul it goes.
Well, as I told you, this is Bannister's 3rd start against the Indians this year. He is 1-0. He had a no decision in his last start back in Kansas City, where he gave up 5 runs.
And he quickly strikes out Ben Francisco, 1 down.
Let's check out the Royals' defense behind Bannister. They are rated 12th in the league with 37 errors. DeJesus in left, Crisp in center, Guillen is in right. Tien at third, Bloomquist at short, Cayespo at second, Butler is at first, and Olivo behind the plate. Brian Bannister 4-3. Got off to that terrific start where he didn't give much up early. But boy, he was roughed up in his last start. Lasted a season low 3 2/3 innings, allowed a season high 8 runs. That came against the Tampa Bay Rays. In a ball game they were beat 9-0.
Jamie Carroll riding a 7-game hitting streak. Looks at a ball outside to even the count at 1-1. The Indians have had a tough time really all season long getting on the board early, in particular in the first inning. Sunday they got a run in the first inning in Chicago, and that snapped a 15-game streak without a first inning run. Bo looked at some numbers, and it's eye-popping when you look at, so far this year, through 59 games, 17 first-inning runs. 2 years ago, through 59 games, they had 52 first-inning runs. And it doesn't sound like it should be that big of a deal when you consider it's a 9-inning game.
But it's always fun to play from in front.
You're not kidding.
Yeah.
Everybody relaxes.
That's exactly what happens.
There's one hit in the alley. It's going to get down. Guillen cuts it off nicely with the backhand, and he holds Carroll to a single.
That's a good job of hitting by Jamie Carroll. He didn't want to test the arm of Guillen right there because he does have a strong arm in the outfield. He flagged it down. This may have been a chance he might have been able to try, but Jamie knows his speed. Thought he was going to plug the gap, but he flagged it down. A good play by Guillen, and he's got a strong arm. He throws it all the way right there in the air, so would have been close.
Good play when you consider the ball was already by him when he backhanded it. If he doesn't get it, good chance Carroll would have been standing on third. As it is, he's at first with one out, and here's Victor Martinez. Looks at a ball inside.
You know, Bannister's a control pitcher. I mean, he's not overpowering. He moves it in and out. He cuts it. He sinks it. He changes speeds. He's got a curveball. He just keeps you off balance, and he's always had success against the Indians. He's 4-1 in his career, and he's pitched very well in this ballpark. 3 wins and a no decision, and an ERA of 1.44 here at Progressive Field.
Are finesse pitchers guys you have to try and be more patient with?
Well, I don't know about being more patient. You just have to hit the ball where it's pitched, I think. And he's had a lot of success. Sometimes that happens to a team.
So in other words, if he's showing you the ball soft in a way, you got to go with it instead of trying to pull it.
Don't pull it. I mean, you have to work. I mean, usually, you'll have a track record against certain hitters and against certain pitchers. You have to make adjustments. And if the Indians can't adjust or do not adjust against him in the course of his ball game, then he's going to continue to do what he's been doing because he has been very successful.
2-1 count. Let's see what Carroll's doing. He's holding, and the pitch is inside. 3-1. Shin-Soo Choo waits on deck. But Martinez looking for something he can really hammer here. Carroll being held at first by Butler. And the second baseman, Callaspo, really pulled around on the right side. And he hit it right at him. Callaspo will go to second for one, and the relay is in time for an inning-ending double play. After one, no score in Cleveland. Time Ohio is brought to you in part by Continental Airlines, official airline of the Cleveland Indians. Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right. By McCafe Coffees at McDonald's, all made to order with fresh ground espresso beans. And by All Care Dental and Dentures, we make seeing the dentist easy. Back here in downtown Cleveland, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum. What a spectacular day here in Cleveland. Jose Guillen will lead off the second inning. Royals cleanup man looks at a ball outside from Cliff Lee. Jose Guillen Don't let the average fool you. Against American League Central opponents this year, he's batted .299. And against the Indians, a .455 average. 1-1 to count as he went fishing right there.
You know, when you look at this division, Matt, really nobody has taken charge within the division. Detroit has the best record. They're 12-10. So, you know, it's you win one, you lose one for the most part, and you got to go in. And that's going to be very important down this, for the remaining 100 games of the season, is you've got to play well, you've got to win games and win the series in your own division.
I thought by now somebody would have put together a run, a hot spell, but nobody's been able to do it.
No, they can't do it. Not consistently, they cannot.
Sounded like Ian broke his bat, but he found a hole on the left side and pulls it through for the first hit-off lead.
He did. It got his bat right off the end. Trying to pull that ball, but he found the right spot in the hole between short and third, so that's Kansas City's first hit tonight. Now the shift comes on for Jacobs.
Carroll, the third baseman, goes all the way over to the right side of second base, and they'll leave Valbuena, the shortstop, all by his lonesome on the left side. Mike Jacobs, left-handed hitting DH, takes a strike. He's been in a prolonged slump for the Royals. He went through a stretch from May 24th through June 4th in which he went just 2 for 30.
But he has put good numbers together against the Indians this year for some strange reason. He has hit 3 homers. He has 6 ribbies, 11 hits, and hitting .355. And this ball, I don't know how it didn't clip him or even get a piece of the shirt. But Cliff Lee moves him out of that toe hold.
He contorted his body. He looked like Gumby. Swung on and missed. 1-2.
This guy's a good low ball hitter. And you find that zone. He's like your typical left-handed low power ball hitter. He can get it up there and generate some great power.
Now the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. He struck him out. Cliff gets his first K. That's his 60th on the year in 83 innings of work.
Elevated above the belt. Excellent pitch. He doesn't have that knack. He's a guy that has that little uppercut in his swing. And Cliff knows it by now. So he attacks that high part of the strike zone and gets strikeout number 1.
Now here is Alberto Callaspo. Switch hitting second baseman. And he looks at a first pitch strike. And after walking Coco Crisp, Cliff is now back to throwing those first pitch strikes. Long pause.
He'll just hold the ball, make the hitter call time. You know, it's amazing how you watch teams. This is already the second trip Kansas City has made here. We've made 2 to Kansas City. They started out very well. You know, their pitching and everything. This guy was on fire. You know, where he was hitting, 360, 370 one of the last times we play him. And it's amazing how things change over the first couple of months of the season. Injuries, guys go on the DL. You have to replace people, and you see who is hot when you come into every series.
1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. He went chasing a pitch on the outside part of the plate. Looked like a good changeup from Lee.
Exactly what it was. Good change of pace.
Well, the whole key in baseball really is to try to avoid the long slumps.
Consistency. Just be consistent.
And the Royals, I thought, had a team that would avoid the kind of stretch they're in right now where they've lost 9 out of 10. Because of guys like Zach Greinke and Gil Mesh, you figure you wouldn't have many lengthy losing streaks.
Well, they had Joakim Soria on the DL for a while, you know, their closer. So that ruffled up the bullpen a little bit.
Swing and a miss, and Cliff Lee has struck out back-to-back hitters. Well, plus Alex Gordon has been on the DL for them.
For a long time. That's exactly right.
Another elevated heater.
Challenged him after setting him up with a changeup away. Fastball up. He gets him to swing through. Mike Aviles, their shortstop, who has had some problems. He's been on the DL. So, I mean, every team goes through it.
Mark Teahen steps in. One of 3 left-handed bats in the lineup tonight. Teahen's actually having a very good, solid season so far for the Royals.
And he's played just about everywhere. He's played first base, third base now that Gordon's out. He's played right field.
Rolls it to second baseman Josh Barfield, and the inning is over. So the Royals have had their leadoff man aboard twice, but nothing to show for it. No score, middle of the second. Back here at Progressive Field, going now to the bottom of the second inning. No score. Shin-Soo Choo, Mark DeRosa, and Travis Hafner for the Tribe. Choo will lead it off for the Indians with a .298 average so far on the year. But more importantly, he's batted .320 against right-handed pitching. One pitch. Popped up, foul, and out of play. Bannister's 1-2 is swung out and missed. He kept that perfectly located on the outside corner.
He sure did.
Let's get a look at tonight's Alltel Text Poll question of the game. How many games do you think the Indians will win on this 9-game homestand? They've got the Royals, the Cardinals, and then the Brewers. Text your answer to 31962 and we'll have the results later in the game. Mark DeRosa looks at a ball down low. Leans him out of the way. DeRosa's picked up a knock in 18 of his last 24 games. During that stretch, he's batting .297. Pops this one high in the air. Shallow right center. Callaspo over near the line, pulls it in, 2 down. Well, the first-year player draft is being held in New Jersey right now. And let's go back to the STO studios, get a word on who the Indians have selected. Al, what do you have?
Well, Matt, with the first pick, which was the 15th overall, they got this guy, Alex White, a right-handed pitcher from UNC. His fastball topped out at 95 miles per hour. It sits at about 91. He also has a plus slider. Alex White, the first pick of the Indians in this year's draft. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Al. So, right-hander out of UNC. Carl Willis will be happy.
Yeah, yes, he will.
He loves them Tar Heels. 6'3", 200 pounds. 15th overall selection. Ball 2 down low to Travis Hafner. Since coming back from the DL, Hafner 2 hits and 8 at-bats, including a home run. And the other hit was a double. 3 balls, no strikes. That just did catch the outside corner. In addition to this 15th overall pick, the Indians also have the 63rd and the 94th selections covering the first 3 rounds.
And I think they go 3 rounds today, don't they?
That is correct. Full count. Ellis Burks and Jason Bray are in Secaucus, New Jersey, representing the Indians at the draft. It's a 3-day process. There are 50 rounds in the draft.
Yeah, I know it.
A check to swing. The ball is high. And Hafner draws a walk. First free pass issued by Bannister so far tonight. Hey fans, shop at Alvin's Jewelers for the big sale. You can save up to 81% on jewelry of your choice. Support a Cleveland-owned family jeweler. Visit alvinsjewelers.com for store locations. On the year, Brian Bannister has walked 20 batters in 52 innings of work now. Kelly Shopik looks at ball 1 outside.
Well, Bannister had his good first year. Last year he struggled, where he ended up, going 9-16. He ended up having a 13-start winless streak from late June till the beginning of September, going 0 for 9 in that span. So the long ball became a problem for him. And, it's all about control. When you miss over the plate, sometimes you get hurt. And when you miss, you got to make sure you miss off the dish.
Well, and I suppose there's a fine line for a guy like Bannister who doesn't have overpowering stuff, to where you don't want to walk guys and set the inning up.
That's right.
But at the same time, you don't want to, grease them down the middle where they're taking you deep all the time.
If you're a major league pitcher, you've got to be able to learn to control both sides of the plate, in, out, and I think a lot of people now are afraid to pitch the contact. It seems like it with so many walks. I know a lot of the pitchers on the Indian staff, they walk too many guys. I mean, it's fun to watch Cliff Lee pitch, and it's fun to watch Carl Pavano pitch because they're aggressive. Jeremy Sowers was good in his last start. He has to remain like that.
Shopik waited back, punched it right up the gut. And the Indians have 2 on with 2 out here in the second. On Sunday, Luis Valbuena, our great clip of the game, gets his first home run off Boogie Bartolo Colon.
Well, Colon turned into pretty much a one-pitch pitcher when he was throwing that day.
Relax, you're at Great Clips. Yeah,
2-seamer, it was about 88 for Bartolo, a guy that used to throw mid-90s. Have a little change-up and a slider.
Yeah, is that just simply a case where, there's only so many bullets in the old arm?
It may be. He's had surgeries, coming off of surgery.
Think about him for so many years, 96.
Oh,
consistently.
We drafted him when he was a kid, before he could even speak a word of English.
Throw back to second.
Pretty good pickoff play there, a timing play.
Hafner dove right back on top of the bag. Valbuena 4 hits in his last 17 at bats. Pop back out of play. Valbuena playing at shortstop tonight. With the injury to his dribble Cabrera, Eric Wedge has been juggling the middle infielders with Peralta and Valbuena. And he says he'll even use Josh Barfield at short. Swung on and missed 1-2 the count.
Well, Valbuena played on Sunday. Johnny's getting another day off Peralta because he has rough numbers against Bannister. So you put Carroll in at third base, and Carroll's going to get some second base play. So you keep guys sharp. You got to keep moving them around. Look at the numbers.
Tribe trying to grab the lead with 2 outs here in inning number 2. 1-2 pitch to Valbuena is swung on and missed. Through 2, no score in Cleveland. We're going to the third inning here at Progressive Field. No score between the Indians and the Royals. For Kansas City, it'll be Miguel Olivo, Willie Bloomquist, and Coco Crisp to face Cliff Lee. Cliff has made 29 pitches so far. 5 of 7 first pitch strikes. Misses inside for ball 1. That's hit a long way, left field. Back goes DeRosa, still going back, looking up, and it's gone. Miguel Olivo, who was just 2 for 21 against Indians pitching this year, slugs his 6th home run of the year to make it a 1-0 Kansas City lead.
Now, this is a guy that has outstanding power. He sits and searches fastball. But I want to see, I'm thinking this might have been a changeup here, Matt, where he leaves it up. Oh, it was down. Good changeup, 83 miles per hour. He hit a good pitch. I'll tell you, he's a dead red. He searches for that fastball, and they attack him with off-speed pitches, sliders, changeups, and he got on that changeup, and he'll give the Royals a lead.
Looking back on it, I'm sure Cliff would have rather had that pitch down and away.
Yeah, that's true. It was down, there's no doubt. But You know, you end up hitting it. I've seen him out in front of so many changeups in the time that we have played this year.
Willie Bloomquist slams one right up the middle. And we'll turn it back over now to the top of the order.
This one, you better get down because it's coming back at you in a hurry. Bloomquist up the middle for a hit. That's hit number 3 for the Royals. The Royals are a team that are 13th in the league in batting average. Second to last at 246. Runs scored, they have 223. That is also 13th. They don't run very much. Last in the league in stolen bases with 28. But they're off. Look at this. They're off and running. And the one guy that will steal a base, he's got 9 of their 29 stolen bases is Bloomquist. He wasted no time. Took off on first movement.
Almost looked like maybe a little miscommunication, too, because Shopik came up and there was nobody to throw to at the bag.
Well, and he knows. Yeah, you see, going over to first base was Barfield. Valbuena wasn't there, so I don't know. They might have made a mistake in coverage. Unless they were thinking Coco was going to bunt there.
Well, he did, yeah. Here is Coco, though, who has really struggled this year. Now he's bunting. And he'll bunt him over to third base. Martinez tags Crisp.
Well, if you're traveling, you can always catch a Tribe on your computer with MLB.tv. It's the ultimate baseball experience featuring 100 live out-of-market games per week, plus on-demand games. For full details, visit Indians.com, where baseball is always on.
Now David DeJesus, who popped up to third base on the infield his first time up. And Cliff Lee goes right at him with a first pitch fastball for strike 1.
Infield coming into the cut of the grass, trying to cut the run in or off at home plate, and Bloomquist has good speed. So it's going to have to be hit right at one of the fielders.
Down the right field line, fair ball. DeJesus drives him home. 2-0 Kansas City. On his way to second now after Chu fumbled the ball. He's going for third, and he'll go in sliding safely.
Well, that's got to be a double and an error there.
I would think so.
Chu had him. I think it would have been an automatic double down the line. And then when he didn't come up with it cleanly, DeJesus just continued to run. So it's a curveball down. Look at Shopik was getting down to block that ball. Hits it down in the corner, and Chu just picks it up. I don't know if he took his eye off of it.
They're going to score a triple, but I think he was slowing down.
Watch, see, he's looking. And then he decided to kick it in.
Well, he never did break stride, though, so.
Well, if he fields it cleanly, then he'd be out.
I would have thought so, without a doubt.
Well, you can go ahead and give him a triple. I think it's a double and an error.
Infield in again, cut of the grass.
They lead the league in triples. That's number 22, if it remains a triple.
Still only one out. Billy Butler, who bounced into a double play his first time up. Takes ball 1 down low. Butler bounced into a double play that ended the first inning. Pops it up foul right side. That'll go out of play. This is where Billy Butler has thrived this year. 378 with runners in scoring position.
Well, he's really turned it around from the first 3 weeks of the season where he scuffled. That's not going to get it done.
Wouldn't think so. Barfield backing up, and he's going to make the grab and step out onto the outfield grass. So Butler fails to bring him home. And there are now 2 down. Let's get a look at our Subway fresh face of the game. Lonnie Chisenhall. will start the All-Star game in the Carolina League, leading the way with 63 hits and 44 runs batted in. Jose Guillen, who had a base hit his first time up, will try to drive in the run from third with 2 outs. Misses down low, ball 1. Guillen with 7 career home runs against the Indians. Cliff pounds the strike zone to make it 2-1 now. Now the left-hander deals, and Guillen lifts it in the air to center. Ben Francisco jogging in, makes the catch, and the inning is over. But the Royals get 2 runs on 3 hits, 1 man left aboard. Middle of the third, 2-0 Kansas City.
Boy, doesn't that look fun.
Progressive Field, downtown Cleveland, Ohio, 2-0 in favor of Kansas City. Bottom of the third inning. Josh Barfield will lead it off, then Ben Francisco and Jamie Carroll. And a first pitch strike from Brian Bannister. Brian Bannister has yielded a hit in each of the first 2 innings. He's walked 1, struck out 3. Josh Barfield has 5 hits and 8 at-bats in the big leagues. He has spent most of the year at AAA Columbus.
Well, he's been up and down, but 3 or 4 times.
Fouls that one off over into the camera bay. With all the injuries, though, he really gives Eric Wedge some options because of his versatility. I mean, he can play second base. He can play, obviously, a little bit of outfield. Can also play on the left side of the infield. He goes down swinging. 4 strikeouts now for Bannister, 1 down in the third. Don't forget, every time the Indians go deep, we raise money for the Gathering Place. Great Clips donating $50 per Indians homer this year. So far, $840 donated. Log on to touchedbycancer.org to learn more and find out how you can make a donation. And I saw Derek Shelton, the Indians hitting coach, before the game today. He said, we cost you a little money when we were in Chicago.
Yeah, and yes, he did.
Hit a few home runs. Rick and I are each donating $5 to the Gathering Place for every homer hit by the Indians this year.
I told him, don't be afraid. It's not costing us money. I said, you know, it's we're thrilled. The Gathering Place is, they can't wait.
That's right. Ben Francisco takes a strike.
I got a note from Ben. He said, I'm all for not hitting with runners in scoring position. I want them to go deep every time. I turned into a home run guy.
Backhanded at third by Tien. And a wonderful play by the Royals third baseman to take a would-be hit away from Francisco, 2 down. Yeah, Ben and Eileen do great work at the Gathering Place.
Well, a nice play. And Tien, you know, he plays all over the diamond. He's a pretty valuable guy to the Royals. Makes a nice play to retire Francisco. That's out number 2. And Kansas City, this is a team that they play better when they're in front. I mean, they have a tough time when they play catch-up. If you can get a 2 or 3 run lead on them, then you take away some of their game plan.
There is Jamie Carroll, base hit his first time up. Looks at a strike to even the count.
But right now, all Brian Bannister. He's given up a couple of singles, but has struck out 4.
Just a bit outside, 2-1. Carroll's now hit in 8 straight games, batting over .400. And he's doing that with a busted up fingertip.
Well, you would never know it.
I remember when he was still on the DL, he was telling me the story about when he originally broke that fingertip in Colorado, and he was telling me how, said he has very little feeling in it anyway. So, as painful as it is, he's been able to play through it because he's dealt with it before. He said it's one of those deals. He said it doesn't matter what happens, you know you're going to take a ball off the end of that finger at some point.
Eventually, yes.
Just always happens.
Well, especially when you're out there playing in different positions.
Of course, that fingertip injury not related to when he broke the hand at the end of spring training. Callaspo throws him out. Indians go 1-2-3. Bannister set down 4 in a row. 2-0 KC through 3. Back here at Progressive Field, where the Indians trail the Royals 2-0. As we go to the 4th inning of play, Mike Jacobs will lead it off. Indians shifting the infield around. For the Royals, the left-handed hitting DH struck out his first time up. And Jacobs lifts a high pop left field near the line. DeRosa long run into foul ground. Look out, there come the seats, and he ran out of real estate.
Give away. Yeah, the Royals so far with Cliff out of the full windup today are 3 for 3 and a walk against him. Once he gets into the stretch, just 1 for 8.
Well, in the first 3 innings, the leadoff man has been aboard. A walk, a single, and a homer. Something about that first batter for Cliff.
Yeah.
Now the 0-1 pitch. Again fouled away. This scoreboard update brought to you by Wendy's. It's way better than fast food. It's Wendy's.
Well, Cliff got Mike Jacobs with a high fastball in his first at-bat. See if he tries to climb the ladder and get it above the belt again. Following up his curveball. Got it down a little bit.
Popped him up. Long run for Valbuena. Into the foul ground. Coach's box makes the catch. And that is out number 1, and I don't think he had another step in him.
You know, I mean, he was playing shortstop on that. And, I mean, that ball had some hang time for him. He had to run a long way. Look where he came from. He was back near second base, and this is a foul ball. And just barely got to it. Had to snow cone it to get it.
I counted 21 strides.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't have 22 in him, or it would have been a foul ball.
Nice effort for out number 1. Here is Alberto Callaspo, struck out his first time up. Boy, 2 pretty good looking pitches, missed with both of them. Back to the screen it goes. Cliff Lee's 12-5 record against the Royals and 22 career starts. His most wins against any opponent. I didn't realize he 8 against Minnesota.
Right.
There's a line drive to center for a base hit. You think about the success against Kansas City, but you think about how good Minnesota has been over the years.
Well, his last start coming against the Twins, he went 8 innings and gave up only 1 run and shut them down in their ballpark. Second time a Royals hitter goes right back up the middle. Pretty good approach. Bloomquist did it back in the 3rd, and here comes Callaspo here in the 4th.
That'll bring up Mark Teahan, who grounded out to second base his first time up. Barfield will be thinking about a double play if he gets another ground ball off the bat of Teahan. Already 5 hits now for Kansas City.
You know, I was just looking at that and thinking, but that's what Cliff does. He gives up a lot of hits. Coming into the ball game, 82 innings, 95 hits. He's not afraid because he's around the plate. He's throwing strikes. They did hit the solo home run. No big deal. I mean, that's all part of the game. You make a pitch, you give credit. Olivo hit a changeup out of the ballpark. But you minimize your base runners. He doesn't walk many. And he gets better with runners getting scoring position and with runners in scoring position and 2 outs.
There's a lob toss over to first. Well, you think back in that 3rd inning when Bloomquist stole second base and then Coco was able to bunt him over to 3rd. He made a good pitch to DeJesus, and DeJesus went down and dug it out, hit it down into the corner to drive in that run.
Well, Bloomquist went on first movement. That's the one thing. See, he's gone. Well,
didn't look like he was running until
the ball
was in the dirt.
Running. He wasn't. I want to see where this pitch was. I mean, that was a lazy backhand. I don't think that ball went in the dirt, to be honest with you.
That's a pass ball.
It should be. See, that ball had movement, and that didn't hit the dirt. That was just laziness right there by Kelly Shopik. That's going to go as a pass ball. Especially when you get a guy on first. Now you give up a base runner, and you give him an opportunity with runners on base.
High and foul down the left side, out of play. Tien certainly wasn't shy. On that 3-0 pitch. And now the count goes full.
Well, they figure, and here's what Trey Hillman's thinking. You're going to get a fastball. He's not going to mess around and throw you a changeup or a breaking ball. So I'm going to let my left-handers go ahead and get all 3 swings if they want them, especially with a runner in scoring position. I'm not going to make him take a strike. He's disciplined enough where if it's a ball, he'll take it. So now Cliff brought it back to a full count. See what he does here on a 3-2 count. Well, just
got him
drilled
looking.
the outside corner, came back, and threw 3 straight strikes.
2 down.
Strikeout number 3 for Cliff. Paint's there. Look at that, right at the outside edge. That's beautiful.
So Mark Tien goes down looking after he was ahead 3-0. Brings up Miguel Olivo, who homered to left in the 3rd inning in his first at bat. Just his 3rd hit in 22 at bats against the Indians this year. Shopik blocks it, keeps it in front of him, and the runner Cayaspo holds at second.
Nice job of blocking that one and keeping it in front.
And there's a liner to short. Valbuena drops to a knee and hangs on to end the inning. We head to the bottom of the 4th here at Progressive Field. It's Kansas. Back here at Progressive Field where the Royals lead the Indians 2-0. Gorgeous night here in downtown Cleveland. Brian Bannister, 3 innings. He's made 48 pitches, 27 of them 4 strikes. Victor Martinez will lead off inning number 4. And that is just the 5th first pitch strike for Bannister. Martinez, the 12th batter for the Indians.
Isn't that something? His 5th first pitch strike,
Yeah.
but he's been able to come around and still strike out 4. And, you know, in the last start against Cleveland on the 19th when he was in Kansas City, they had the most hits ever against him, 9 hits in any one of his starts. They never had more than 6 at any one time, and they got 5 runs. But that was that game. If you remember, it was up against Cliff Lee, had a 5-2 lead coming back in the 9th, and then Kerry Wood came in, and it was a 4-run 9th inning, and it was like a shocker.
Yeah.
You know, that was one of those games where you just couldn't believe it. There's a little cutter. Victor files it off his toe.
Pad or no pad, he felt that one.
Well, just don't foul it off your kneecap. He did that from the right side of the plate and missed some time. You forget about that when you're a switcher. You can beat up both sides of your body.
That 1-2. Just got a piece of that one.
That was a swing like he had a sore foot. Almost looked like he's feeling for it. Although that pitch was about 6 inches off the ground, he's lucky to get a piece of it.
Victor 8 hits in his last 27 at bats. It's a hard smash to the shortstop Bloomquist. 1 away.
Well, you can spend Father's Day with Dad right here at Progressive Field. You'll enjoy a delicious ballpark buffet at the Club Lounge and watch the Indians take on the Cubs at Wrigley Field on the giant scoreboard. Get to play catch in the outfield. Purchase tickets for this one-of-a-kind Father's Day event at Indians.com.
Well, here's Shin-Soo Choo. Struck out his first time up and looks at a strike. Popped foul, and this will find the seats. 0-2 the count. Chu has hit in 6 of his last 7 games. And looks at a ball in the dirt. Trying to get the Indians jump started here tonight. Bannister has given up 2 singles. He's walked 1 and struck out 4. He has set down 5 in a row. Two balls, 2 strikes. And now the count goes full. Chu, who has shown a very good eye at the plate this year.
Changeup.
Bangs
See, he
foul.
never really gives in, Matty. I mean, he goes in there, full count, in, out, curveball down. He changeup.
Again, Bannister with the payoff pitch. And it's low, ball 4. So Chu draws a 1-out walk. And that'll bring up Mark DeRosa. And while we have a moment here, I just want to take a second and thank the countless number of people who have offered their condolences to me and my family after the passing of my mom. We have been moved beyond words by the expressions of sympathy and support. I want to publicly thank the Cleveland Indians family and the Sports Time Ohio family for all their support. And also, thanks to Rosie and Al for filling in over the weekend. And thank you, partner.
Well, my pleasure. It went well last night, all things considered.
Beautiful memorial service held in Ashland last night. Fitting send-off. 1 ball, 1 strike to count on Mark DeRosa, who popped up on the infield his first time up. He's collected a hit in 18 of his last 24. There goes Chu. And DeRosa fouls it off. He had a good jump. Seems to me that if you take away maybe the first couple of weeks, maybe even the first month for DeRosa, he's been pretty steady. I mean, pretty consistent with what he's given this team on a day-in, day-out basis.
Well, I don't know if expectations got him, coming over here where he was supposed to come in and be something that he's not. He's just a solid ball player. You come out and, he's been playing in various different positions. I don't know if people thought he was going to be better or savior, but he's, you look down at his numbers. He has 9 home runs, second on the team to Victor. He's got 38 RBI, second on the team to Victor. And, he's moved around the lineup. They had him penciled into that number 2 hole originally behind Grady. That didn't work. That didn't pan out. But then again, neither did Grady in that leadoff spot. So a lot of things change.
Well, I think coming back over to the American League, there's always an adjustment factor. You get comfortable batting in the National League. Now you got to readjust again.
But, he played here for a while. He spent time in Texas, and that's where he started to get his playing time. So I don't think if you would ask him, I would think he would tell you it's probably not an adjustment because he's played in this league before.
Maybe just simply a case where
trying to do too much.
Put a little too much pressure on himself.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That and expectations, I think. And then he did miss a portion of spring training.
Yeah,
he was in that WBC and didn't spend a lot of time with this ball club. Not that has anything to do with it, but, I would think he knows what it takes to get ready for a baseball season.
Point being, he's settled in, though, now. And I think what we're seeing now is the Mark DeRosa that I think they anticipated. Just kind of steady every day.
Well, it just seems like his personality. He never gets too high, never gets too low. He's a grinder. He gets out there and gets after it.
He's the kind of guy who, with this team at 100%, would fit in nicely with a healthy Hafner, healthy Sizemore, Martinez, everybody clicking on all cylinders. And he's out looking here on a call he's not real crazy about. 5 strikeouts now for Bannister, 2 down here in the 4th inning.
You see how crafty that Bannister is at front door breaking ball. That's a good pitch. You know what? Normally as a breaking ball, you look for that breaking ball and that slider away. This one was almost like, I don't know if you call it a backup breaking ball, but it went straight down. And normally you don't see breaking balls there. You're used to seeing it go away from you. Well, it ended up working out for Bannister because he got the strikeout.
2 outs for Travis Hafner, who walked his first time up. And Travis bangs it foul over into the Royals dugout.
58. 36.
First time up with 2 outs and the bases empty, it almost looked like Bannister just worked around Hafner. But with 2 outs and a runner aboard, maybe a different approach this time. The 0-1. Popped him up right on the infield. Bloomquist grabs it, inning over. 4 complete, 2-0 Royals. Cleveland Indians baseball brought to you in part by Subway. Play hard, eat fresh. By Alltel Wireless. Choose who you call for free with My Circle. Any number, any network. And by Direct Energy, offering simple solutions for all your natural gas needs. Visit directenergy.com/GoTribe for details. Two 2-0 KC leads it. Slider in the house celebrating a birthday, it looks like.
Well, he's great at that.
Willie Bloomquist takes a first pitch strike here to open the 5th inning. He singled, stole a base, and scored the Royals' second run his first time up, but he went too far, and he's in an 0-2 hole.
And that was the only inning that they scored, and that's the difference in the ballgame, the 2-run third inning by Kansas City.
Back out of play. Bloomquist is the very definition of versatility. He started a game at every position this year except first base, pitcher, and catcher.
No kidding. Well, we remember him with Seattle Mariners.
Although he did play part of a game at first base this year. He just didn't start there. But, yeah, you're right. He was similar jack of all trades with Seattle.
But it seems like Kansas City using his versatility more so than what Seattle did out there, because a lot of times when we played him, he never seemed to play against us a lot.
Diving stop by Valbuena, but no play at first.
Boy, just to get to that ball was something.
Man, oh, man. Full extension on the dive. But by the time he knocked it down, Bloomquist was halfway down the line.
I don't care. You might have been able to get Paul Konerko on this, but you're not going to get Willie Bloomquist. That's a terrific effort. He comes to his feet realizing, hey, look, he's lucky to get there. Great, great effort. That'll go as a single, though. So Bloomquist 2 for 2, and we'll see if Cliff pays a little more attention to him.
Well, again, though, it's that leadoff man aboard.
Yeah.
4 out of the 5 times, leadoff man is reached.
Well, I told you, what is it with the full windup today? I don't know. Because Cliff, I mean, what are they, 5 of 6 out of the full windup?
Yeah.
And they haven't gotten to him from the stretch.
Just 1 for 10. Well, here's where it seemed like they had a mix-up the last time in this scenario with Bloomquist aboard and Coco faking the bunt. Bloomquist was able to go in to second base without a throw because they really didn't have anybody at the bag. Either that or I didn't look at it correctly, and he just had such a big jump that they decided not to throw.
He had a good jump, and if anybody had been there, it's got to be Valbuena, because if it's a bunt situation, Barfield's got to cheat over towards first because Victor's going to be charging on the bunt play.
Right.
So to have second base covered, it's got to be your shortstop.
Coco ultimately sacrificed Bloomquist to third after he stole second base.
You know, this is a combination that you could work a hit and run with. You don't necessarily have to bunt. Cliff, a guy that he doesn't have a good move to first base. He doesn't like to throw to first base. His best move is this delivery to home plate, is where he freezes the runners. You know, and I would think that if you're with Kansas City, you've seen him pitch enough, or if you're in his division, you'd get to know. You could get a big lead off Cliff and just take off on first movement because he doesn't have a great pickoff move. See, that's his move to first, just to keep you closer, keep you honest. What he does, he holds the ball.
Right.
And he'll make the hitter call timeout, or a base stealer gets a little anxious and he gets a little nervous.
Tries to vary the rhythm.
That's it. Just give him a different look out there.
Showing bunt, but the pitch sailed high. And the count is 2-1.
Good count to start him.
Coco looking down to Dave Owen, the third base coach.
But with a guy, and the manager knows his players better than certainly I do, but a guy, if a hit and run's on here, you've got to hit the ball on the ground. And Cliff's a high fastball pitcher. He's a fly ball pitcher a lot of times. And that's why maybe a manager will not want to start his runner. You know, if you have a sinker baller out on the mound and a guy that let's say like a Pavano who throws strikes, gets ahead of you, you get a lot of ground balls, then you want to start the runners.
Now let's see what they decide to do here. 2-2. Runner holds, and it's strike 3 called, and that's 4 strikeouts now for Cliff Lee as Coco upset with Chuck Merriweather.
Well, that hard to tell, but that was a perfect pitch if it was there. And I'll tell you what, perfect pitch. That's one of those pitches as a hitter you're a little afraid to take it because you can't put it in the umpire's hands. You want to try and foul it off.
It's one of those, the old saying, you can't hit it.
Yeah, you can't hit it. And you remember an old umpire, Durwood Merrill?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what he used to say.
Carroll goes to second. They get 1, and that's out number 2. But they take care of the lead runner. And now DeJesus at first on the fielder's choice. Hold on 1 second with Durwood. Let's check out the All Care Dental and Dentures Smiling Easy Cam tonight. Tribe fans checking out the Indians and Royals in the opener of this 3-game series. 17 locations across northeastern Ohio. All Care Dental and Dentures make seeing the dentist easy.
Durwood Merrill on pitches like that, if you were a hitter, you'd turn back and say, Durwood, he said, hey, that's a Hall of Fame pitch. And you'd say, yeah, he's going to the Hall of Fame because you can't hit it. If that's a strike, he would say, yeah, that's a Hall of Fame pitch. Kansas City tonight off Cliff, just 1 for 12 with runners on base. They can do so. They've done most of their damage out of their windup. Maybe he ought to come back next inning and go from the stretch without anybody on.
That one hit with a runner on base scored a run, though. The DeJesus RBI triple in the third.
And he hit a pretty darn good pitch.
Up the middle, and that'll get through. Their second hit with a runner on base. DeJesus thought about going to third, but Francisco will hold him right there at second base. So 2 on, 2 out now for Jose Guillen.
Well, Sunday, the Indians take on the St. Louis Cardinals. It's an 8:05 start, special start time. All kids 14 and under will receive a reversible Grady Sizemore jersey. It'll also be KeyBank Kids Fun Night as opposed to Kids Fun Day, and the activities are all the same out on the plaza. So visit Indians.com for the tickets. Special ESPN broadcast, Sunday Night Baseball, visiting Cleveland. Hopefully we're supposed to, if they have a weekend, or, like it is now, it's gorgeous. And I think it's supposed to be nice for the weekend. That means you and I are off.
That's right. Be off Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
That's right. Saturday's a Fox game, and then back again Monday night is ESPN.
They're moving in on our turf.
Yes, they are.
Jose Guillen, dangerous hitter, fouls it back, and the count 0-2 as Cliff Lee tries to work out of this 5th inning. 75 pitches for Cliff, 50 of them have been for strikes.
Nothing new. 2 for every one. That seems like that's Cliff every time out. And once again at home, his offense not showing up.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Yeah, they've been shut out.
At least not to this point.
Shut out on just 2 base hits so far, and both hits. 1 on the first, 1 on the second. They've done nothing since. A 1-2 to Guillen, down in the dirt. The Tribe has won 6 of their last 9 games here at home, but trail the opener of this 9-game homestand 2-0 here in the 5th. 2-2 pitch. Tapped it foul over toward the dugout. Guillen is third best in the AL with runners in scoring position, batting .382. But he flied to center with a runner at third to end the 3rd inning. And here he grounds one to third base, and that'll end the 5th inning. So Cliff Lee works out of trouble, and we'll go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Still 2-0 Kansas City. Two 2-0 Kansas City. No free passes. Brian Bannister has walked 2 here tonight, but he has struck out 5, and he has shut out the Indians through 4 innings. Cliff Lee, meanwhile, has walked just 1. He struck out 4, but he's allowed 2 runs, so he's on the short end so far. Bottom third of the Indians' order here. Kelly Shoppach leads it off and takes a first pitch strike. Shoppach singled to center his first time up. 10 hits in his last 15 games, with a couple of homers and 7 runs batted in. Bannister taking a little too much time to get the grip on that pitch.
Ouch.
Hit him again.
Well, that's a league leader. There goes the bullseye.
That's a dozen right there.
Yes, it is. I mean, if this guy can't go 2 games without getting drilled.
He's on base twice tonight now.
There it is, bullseye. The only catcher I don't even know if I've seen get hit more than Shoppach would be A.J. Pierzynski, and that's because half the time people were throwing at him.
That's right.
I don't think Kelly's that kind of guy. A dozen times already.
Valbuena went to the front of the box, took a strike. Brian Bannister so far has induced 5 groundouts, 5 strikeouts. He's popped up a couple. The only balls that have made it to the outfield were the singles by Shopik and Jamie Carroll. Too low. And the count is 2-1. Bannister, including tonight's start, has pitched 10 scoreless innings here at Progressive Field this year. Almost threw that one away.
Yes, he did. I mean, Shopik's not going anywhere. He maybe just felt like it may be a hit and run situation. They want to keep an eye on him, but certainly not to try and pick him off. And that throw almost gets by Butler. You see Rivera in the background saying, I got to get out of the way. I may get hit.
Balbuena fouls it away. 2-2. It's amazing how many times during the course of a season we will see a pitcher throw over to a base occupied by a guy who wouldn't run if the ball went all the way to the backstop.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, you know, I can see sometimes your manager says, you know, flip it over there just to let them know that you're paying attention to them. There may be something on, but when there is nothing on and no chance of it.
Liner to right at Guillen. And Shopik has to hold. Balbuena hit it hard, but nothing to show for it. Let's go back to the STO studios right now for a Ford Sports update.
Matt and Rick, Detroit, Chicago, game 3 of their 5-game series. Dontrell Willis wild with 2 outs and 2 strikes on Tomey. Because of that, Scott Pizzagna comes in from third. First run of the night, Chicago up 1-0. Top of the second inning now. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Al. Here is Josh Barfield, struck out his first time up. Off the end of the bat, slowly hit to second. The tag.
Good job.
And that's all they get there.
That's what you do, boy. You get in the baseline. That's a base runner's job. You usually try and stop so he can't turn to double play. Well, this time Calespo thought that Shopik was just going to go ahead and let him tag him. You run him over. You try and knock the ball out and get rid of him. That'll boy, Kelly. You can't get rid of it. No double play. That is his job right there. See, he didn't stop in time. Calespo was stupid enough to stay in the tracks of that guy. You've got to be crazy. It's a catcher. He just got hit.
Somewhere Fernando Vina is smiling. Ben Francisco looks at a ball down low.
Well, I mean, anytime you get to first base with less than 2 outs, your first base coach comes to you and says, okay, don't let him tag you. You know, you stop or you run into him. Just don't let him turn the double play. And he didn't.
Francisco, high fly ball center field. Coming in is Coco Crisp. And the inning is over. It's a 2-hit shutout for Brian Bannister through 5, 2-0 Kansas City. 2-0 in favor of Kansas City. Moving now to the 6th inning of play. Mike Jacobs, Alberto Callaspo, and Mark Teahen to bat for Kansas City. Royals have 7 hits tonight. Lee has not been able to set them down in order yet, but he will get the leadoff man here in inning number 6 as Mark DeRosa makes the catch for out number 1. Time now for our direct energy, bringing the gas sequence. Mark Jacobs back in the 2nd inning.
Well, Cliff Lee's going to end up putting him away with a high fastball. Just missed him on the inside corner. You and Powder River here every pitch. Fastball, fastball, fastball. Gets the strikeout.
Direct energy, simple solutions for your natural gas supply needs. Want to know the count on Alberto Callaspo, singled his last time up.
You know, for Cliff, it's been pretty smooth sailing, as it is for the most part. First inning, 14 pitches, then 15 pitches, 16, 15 in the 4th, and then in the 5th, he's throwing the most, 19 pitches. He's going to throw his shoe up there next.
Better than taping up a grapefruit, throwing that up there.
You see, it wasn't even tight. He just slipped it right back on like it's a sneaker.
1-1 pitch. Missed up high. Change up in the dirt, and now the count 3-1. Cliff about to make his 85th pitch of the night. And it's in the air, right field, well hit. Back goes Chu, still going back, pulls it down. 2 away. Another look at tonight's Alltel text poll question of the game. What do you think about this big 9-game homestand for the Indians against the Royals, Cardinals, and Brewers? You think they'll win 8 or 9, 6 or 7, 4 or 5, 3 or less? Text your answer to 31962. And we'll have the results coming up in a little while. Mark Teahen 0 for 2 tonight. Looks at a first pitch strike. Teahen was struck out his last time up on a perfect pitch by Cliff. It was a 3-0 count, and then Teahen fouled a pitch off, fouled another one off, and then took a called third strike on the outside corner. Fastball belt high away. Fouled away, 1-2 the count. Trying to set him down 1-2-3 for the first time tonight. And the 1-2 pitch is in the dirt. Teahen able to lay off. The only inning tonight where Cliff faced the minimum was in the first when he got the double play ball to end the inning. And the 2-2 up the middle, and it gets through. So Teahen beats the shift, and a 2-out base runner for Miguel Olivo.
Well, not a bad pitch. You can see him just finding the right hole. Give up a couple hits like that, not bad. Comes with 2 outs.
Olivo homered in the 3rd inning, lined out to short, to end the 4th inning. So he's hit it hard in both at bats tonight. Ran it up high again, 2-0.
Oh, took a pretty healthy cut right
Yes,
there,
he did.
trying to double the score.
93 pitches so far on the night for Cliff Lee. As you see, this pitch fouled in and out of the mitt. Only twice this year has Cliff made fewer than 100 pitches. His first start against Texas, where he went 5 innings, 79 pitches. Swing and a miss. And then he had that start in Cincinnati on May 24th, where he went 98 pitches. Every other one has been over 100 and some well beyond 100. Two down and a runner at first, and a 2-ball, 2-strike count on Miguel Olivo. Jam job, shallow right, coming hard, won't get it. Chu plays it on a bounce. Here's a throw to third, and they won't get him. He came off the bag? No, he did not, says Mike Riley.
Well, I knew that was going to be close because Chu with his arm. And Tien, he realized he could run with 2 outs. But, boy, he barely got in, and it did look like that body. He did get to the bag before Carroll could make the tag. See, flat-footed is what he had to do. He was coming in to try and make the catch. Oh,
well, he was off the bag. I think Mike didn't see that, but it looked like, watch, he's off the bag right there.
You're absolutely right. That front foot came off the bag, the momentum, and the tag stayed with him. I agree with it. That's a tough call.
Off
there
the
he
bag
is.
right there, and he's tagged out.
That clearly shows he was off the bag. They catch a break right there, so hopefully Cliff can get out of this.
Ground ball in the hole, he won't. Valbuena's throw to second, not in time. And the Royals steal a run on a bad call. Bloomquist picks up an RBI, and the Royals lead it 3-0. Base hit between third and short. Valbuena with another terrific effort to get to it. Nothing he could do.
No. There's nothing you could do. He's going to get down there and beat it out. Olivo does, the catcher, and just a tough break, man. I mean, 3 straight 2-out singles increases the lead to 3-zip. Boy, not much you could do. You know, you see that replay again, and I mean, for Mike Riley, who's a veteran and a good umpire, the momentum play, you know, he figured he kept his foot on until his hand got there.
Well, the thing is if you look at Riley, he's looking right
He's right
at
there. I mean, he is right on the plate. Now his leg may be blocking him off, but there's no part of the bag. So, I mean, he called him safe. So, originally he was there, and that third base coach says stay on the base. Well, that keeps the inning going where the Indians should have been off the field.
And Coco Crisp will get a chance to bat now.
Boy, they don't want anything else to happen here. Well, you look at the 8-9 guys. Olivo's 2 for 3. Bloomquist 3 for 3. They've scored a couple of the runs.
There go the runners. Throw to third, and it's down the left field line. Here comes Olivo. He will score 4-0 Kansas City.
How about the double steal with the catcher? And then the error by Shopik into the outfield. They manufacture another run here. And they can afford to do it when you have a lead. 3-0, they turn it into a 4-0 game, so the double steal pays dividends. That is the 3rd stolen base for him today. Look at this. Just a terrible throw. And that allows Olivo to just get up. He sees it. Carroll was there in time.
Now a ground ball up the middle. Valbuena with a terrific stop throw, and he's safe at first. Boy, I tell you what, Luis Valbuena has made 3 of the most incredible defensive plays tonight, and he's got nothing to show for it. He's throwing his body all over the field.
He's putting on a clinic, and he just can't get it out anywhere. And it's Coco who's running. One of their faster guys gets up, the throw across, a nice pick by Victor, but he does beat it out. There's no doubt. So that's 4 consecutive singles.
Now David DeJesus, who had an RBI triple earlier tonight. First and third, 2 down. There goes Coco, and it's fouled back to the screen.
Well, it's a track meet now. They're just off and running. You know, a team that's struggling, they don't have a lot of pop in their offense. They have the lead. They're going to do everything they can to try to add on to that lead. In this inning, it happens to be that you get an extra out. Let's start running.
Indians bullpen starts to get busy. Cliff has now made 100 pitches on the night. The 0-1.
I mean,
is a strike call.
When you start putting a double steal in order, but the leading man in that double steal is your catcher, that's the element of surprise, not paying attention. And
it is Luis Vizcaíno who gets up to loosen for the Indians. Cliff Lee trying to end the inning right here. 0-2 pitch. Fouled back. For nothing, Kansas City leads it. They've out-hit the Indians 11-2. And they're trying to do some more damage here with 2 outs. And runners at the corners. The 0-2 pitch. He didn't go, and it's a bit too high. 1-2. Cliff Lee got the first 2 outs in this inning on 6 pitches, and he's made 18 since. Boy, how this inning turned in an instant. And it turned on a bad call. 1-2 pitch. Runner goes, and a fake throw. And Coco Crisp,
well,
just
another stolen base. Well, he was going to stop.
Walks into second base.
They could have put the double, but Bloomquist on. They could have put a double steal on, and if he releases the ball to second base, they send Bloomquist home. They choose not to throw through. So that's their 4th stolen base of the night. You're banking that guy at third base is going to take off. But as a base runner, you've got to make sure you see the ball leave his hand before you start running. And then Coco would have stopped and let him try to steal home plate.
One hop smash to second. Barfield stumbles, regains his momentum, and throws him out. Royals tack on 2. Middle of the 6th. They now lead it 4-0. 4-0 in favor of Kansas City as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Indians have been blanked on 2 hits, and those 2 hits, 1 in the first, 1 in the second. Jamie Carroll batting in the 2-hole tonight, leads off inning number 6. Singled in the first, extending his hitting streak to 8 straight. And a strike called, 1-1. Two balls and a strike. Tried to hold up, did he? Laz Diaz says he did not go around, and the count is 3-1. It's up high, and a leadoff walk. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the second time tonight the Indians have had their leadoff man aboard. Well, Browns fans, you can win a Trips Pack, the Browns' new 3-game ticket plan. Log on to STOHD.com now and tell us your 3 favorite Browns receivers of all time, and you'll be automatically entered to win. Here's Victor Martinez, 0 for 2. First pitch strike. That's in the dirt.
No, the only time the Indians tonight have had back-to-back guys aboard came in the second, but there was 2 outs already, so they didn't really have a chance to put anything together. Got to see right here if you can get it going, at least generate something, get this crowd into it a little bit. They've been quiet all night. Then again, when you only get 2 hits, there's not much to cheer about.
That's too low. 3-1 to count. I beg your pardon, 2-1 to count. Got ahead of myself. 88 pitches on the night for Bannister, so even though he hasn't given up a lot of hits, he has walked 2 and hit a batter. Or walked 3 and hit a batter. So the Indians have had a base runner in all but 1 inning tonight.
Well, Kansas City will have that bullpen going, and that's why Olivo went out there. Get word from your manager, go talk to him. Kill some time, let our bullpen get warm. Because after coming off his last start, they don't want to push it. He's pitched very well again, as usual, against the Indians, and has pitched very well in this ballpark. In 4 starts, 3 wins, and a no decision right here at Progressive Field. And his ERA, 1.4.
Lefty John Bale loosening. Pitch number 90 coming up here for Bannister on a 2-2 count to Victor Martinez. Victor with a ground ball, base hit into center field. On his way to third is Jamie Carroll. Indians at the corners with nobody out. So there's the hit from Victor Martinez that just may get the Indians going here tonight. First time they've had back-to-back base runners, as Rick told you, since the second.
Well, this time Victor didn't try to pull it. He hit it where it was pitched. He hit into a double play earlier like that. This time he finds a hole. More up the middle. Carroll goes to third base, first and third. Nobody out. Great chance to get on the board.
The batter is Shin-Soo Choo. He has walked and struck out. You almost have to think now that John Bale, who's up in that bullpen, is up in case Travis Hafner gets to the plate here. And unless the Indians would hit into a double play, there's a real good chance we'll see him. Mark DeRosa, right-handed hitter, is next. Right now it's Shin-Soo Choo trying to do some damage. 1-1 to count. Indians just 2 for 8 when they've had a runner on base against Bannister tonight. Outside.
Now this is one guy that's going to make you get in the strike zone, is Choo. He's got an excellent eye at the plate. He has walked 37 times, which leads the Indians.
It's low, 3-1. And Choo is batting .346 with runners in scoring position and less than 2 out. With a half dozen walks, so he can be selective. And a 3-1 pitch. Choo didn't like it, full count.
No, that's what happens though when you get the count in your favor. You don't have to like it, but you don't have to swing at it either.
This wasn't his pitch.
That's exactly right. He's looking for a pitch he can drive.
Now the full count payoff pitch. Bounce to first. They go to second, and do they get the out? No, he didn't hold on to it. I wasn't sure if Bloomquist held it long enough and maybe it squirted loose after the fact. But second base umpire Eric Cooper says no dice. Indians get on the board. Carroll scores on the play. Still nobody out. Tying run to the plate.
A huge mistake there by Butler at first base. You've got at least 1 out with a 4-run lead that you have to get the first one. He's thinking double play, which is okay. But you got to make a good throw. He rushes it, pulls Bloomquist off the base. They don't even get one. And now the Indians get one in, and they didn't get anybody out, so they got to rally. A mistake by Butler. That'll go as an error, the Royals' first error. So the Indians gave the Royals a run in the top half of the inning. The Indians are going to get one right back here.
And now Mark DeRosa will be the batter as Bob McClure stalls for some time. Again, it looks like John Bale is loosening to come on to face Hafner anyway.
Right. That's exactly right. This will be Bannister's last hitter.
Even with the error, Shin-Soo Choo picks up his 34th run batted in on the year.
Well, that's a play where when you're leading and you're on the road, you just make a good throw. If you turn a double play, great. And they had a good chance to do that. But when you throw it wide on that first out, you can open up a can of worms.
DeRosa liner to left. That's going to drop a base hit. And the bags are loaded. Still nobody out. Martinez to third, Choo into second, and DeRosa with his first hit tonight is down at first. And now Trey Hillman will make the move to his left-hander for the matchup with Hafner.
Yeah, and DeRosa wasn't going to spot him anything. He went down and hit a good pitch down in the strike zone. Gets it out to left field, and everybody can move up just one base. And the night will be over for Bannister, and in will come Bale.
Base is loaded, nobody out. Lefty on lefty when we come back. Back here at Progressive Field, Indians have the bases loaded with nobody out. And left-hander John Bale is coming on to face left-handed hitting Travis Hafner. Bale for the 6th time this year. No wins, a loss, ERA 6.23.
Now Bale starting the year on the disabled list since the end of spring training. Hyperthyroidism surgery is what they say. And, you know, a left-hander that was valuable for him when he's healthy. But he spent a ton of time on the DL last year.
All right, Rick, Hafner's 2 for 5 in his career against John Bale. In his 6 plate appearances, he has 2 singles, a walk, and 3 strikeouts.
Well, the Indians with a great chance to jump right back into this ball game. Nobody out. They have 1 in, and the base is still loaded.
Big bouncer. Butler coming home. They pulled him off the plate, and he's safe at the dish. 4-2. Trey Hillman out to argue, but it was a good call, at least I think, by Chuck Merriweather. The throw pulled Olivo off the plate. And now it's a 4-2 ball game. Still nobody out as the Royals defensively continue to shoot themselves in the foot.
Well, again, it's a throw from Butler at first base. I mean, the only thing you can do, he fields it. Let's throw, and let's see where he's at. It may be Olivo that just left early, not wanting to get his foot. You know, and Victor's running. You got to know better. That's close. Now, I'll tell you what, there's times where they call that neighborhood play. Well, Chuck Merriweather said he was off.
Now Kelly Shopping. He has singled. He's been hit by a pitch. He goes after the first pitch, drives it deep to right field. Backing up is Guillen, makes the catch. Tagging at third, coming home to score is Chu. Tagging and moving to third is DeRosa. It's a 1-run game. Shopping with his 15th run batted in on the year on this sacrifice fly. And that's the first out here in the 6th inning. Chu able to come home on the tag up, and then DeRosa alertly able to tag and go to third. So now the tying run is just 90 feet away with Luis Valbuena at the plate.
Now looks like pinch hitter Johnny Peralta coming in the on-deck circle.
All right, with the left-hander on the hill, Eric Wedge will go with his right-handed bat. And so Peralta will get the pinch hit call here. Trey Hillman looks over the matchups. Peralta batting .254 on the year, is 1 for 4 in his career against John Bale. And he takes the first pitch strike. So 2 throwing errors in the inning. I believe that's what the scoring was, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the second one, it wasn't a throwing error. They gave it to the catcher, Olivo.
They did give it to Olivo.
For pulling that foot off the plate because it wasn't a bad throw.
All right.
And, you know, I have to agree with him. If his foot wasn't on the plate, that throw wasn't that far off line after getting a second look at it. But it is the second error in the inning for the Royals. And the Indians, that tying run is at third base.
And DeRosa can come home on a fly ball to the outfield. 1-1 to Peralta. It's low. That runner at third base, the responsibility of Brian Bannister. And the 2-1 pitch is fouled back out of play. Runners first and third, one out here in the sixth inning. Indians trailed 4-0, but they've put 3 up to close the gap to a single run. And that didn't miss by much. And the count goes full. I think Bale would love to have a word with Chuck Merriweather about that pitch.
Well, he tried to wrap it around the plate, and it did look from that angle like it was outside. It was a tantalizing pitch, but a little off the dish.
Now the 3-2. And a ground ball in the hole. Diving play by Tian gets 1 at second base. We are tied at 4. Johnny Peralta, in a pinch hit appearance, gets the tying run home from third. Peralta picking up his 25th run batted in on the year.
Well, pretty good play by Tian just to get an out here. That's exactly what they had to do. He beat Hafner to the bag. Peralta will get an RBI, and we have a new ball game. Indians with just 4 hits, but they have 4 runs, and nobody's going to be happier than Cliff Lee. They got those runs, though, a little late, because I think Cliff will be done.
Now Josh Barfield 0 for 2 tonight. Takes the first pitch strike. One ball, 1 strike.
You know, we have seen John Bale effective against this ball club in the past. He just hasn't pitched enough. This is only his 6th appearance, and you know that big curveball is part of his game. And when he can't throw that for strikes to keep hitters off, he can be in trouble.
There are not many times where you see 3 fielders' choices in an inning with the inning still alive.
Yeah, right.
But defensively, the Royals have made a couple of boo-boos here that have allowed the Indians right back in it. 30th pitch of the inning right here for the Royals staff. There goes the runner, and the pitch fouled back out of play. So Brian Bannister, who left in line for a win, now a no decision. Only 2 of the 4 runs allowed are earned, as Barfield strikes out here to end the inning. But the Tribe rallies back with a 4 spot, and through 6, we're back to even. Baseball on Sports Time Ohio, brought to you in part by KeyBank, feel safe at home with the banking home of the Cleveland Indians. By AM, PM, too much good stuff. 4-4 our score as we go now to the 7th inning here at Progressive Field. Johnny Peralta now stays in the game. He'll play shortstop. And the new Indians pitcher is right-hander Luis Vizcaino.
Preparing for the 8th time this year, 1-2 record. Cliff Lee goes 6 innings, 11 hits, gives up 4 runs. He did walk 1 and struck out 4. Gave up a solo home run back in the 3rd inning. So the Indians gave the Royals a run in the top half of the 6th, but the Royals, they were very kind and gave the Indians at least a couple in the bottom half with the defense. So we're back to even in the last 3 frames. It'll be decided by the bullpen.
Well, and this is where the Indians would, on paper anyway, have a decided advantage, Rick, because from the 7th inning on, the Royals this year have scored 68 runs. The Indians 104. Kansas City a 232 team average. Indians a 279 average from the 7th inning on. We'll see how it plays out tonight. Billy Butler is 1 for 3. He'll lead it off. And Vizcaino drops a strike in there. Oh, 2 the count. Left-hander Rafael Perez appears to be loosening in the Indians' bullpen. With that left-handed DH Mike Jacobs due up 3rd this inning. Should somebody get aboard, that may be a matchup situation for Eric Wedge. The 0-2. And strike 3 called. Vizcaino punches out Billy Butler to start the 7th.
Well, we want you to fill the house for the Center for Families and Children. That's tomorrow night as this series will continue with the Royals. For every ticket sold, $1 will be donated to the charity, and it's a season-long community outreach program that has already raised over $150,000 for local charities. Visit Indians.com/fill-the-house for more information.
Jose Guillen, 1 out of 3, steps in, swings, and misses. Just missed up high. This patchwork Indians bullpen has done a much better job over their last 20-plus games. Since May 16th, an ERA of 3.32. Guillen again able to lay off. And it counts 2-1. On May 16th, the Indians' team relief ERA was just a shade under 6. It's now down to 4.87.
Well, when it happens to you early, it's a full-time recovery period, that's for sure.
On the infield, popped him up, foul ground, Jamie Carroll. 2 down. 24% of Ohio's children under the age of 5 are listed as food insecure. Now you can help by joining Channel 3, the Indians, and the Cleveland Food Bank by bringing a kid-friendly food like mac and cheese or peanut butter to Progressive Field on Sunday. You'll receive a free kids ticket plus a big thank you. For more details, go to WKYC.com. Timeout here at Progressive Field. Tied at 4 in the 7th. Perez is coming on now for the Tribe.
Well, it's now matchup time. Eric Wedge, went to Vizcaino. He got his 2 outs. He wants to match up against some of the power that they have of left-hander Mike Jacobs, who has hit 3 home runs off the Indians this year. So you bring in Rafael Perez.
Now, when he came into his last outing, you were telling me bases were loaded.
Right.
He walked in a run, but then got 2 big strikeouts.
2 big strikeouts, and then a diving catch by Crow to get out of the inning. And this is when they were winning, and it could have brought him back into the ball game. So, yeah, I mean, we've seen this guy before pitch when he comes in with runners on base. But, preferably you would like to bring this guy in with nobody on, just like what Eric's doing right now. It just sometimes that hasn't been the luxury this year. To most of your relievers, you would like him to start an inning. But Rafael has always been a guy that can pitch with runners on base and does a nice job with inherited runners.
Mike Jacobs has struck out, fouled out, flied to left. Swung on and missed. Indians still have the shift on. 3 on the right side for Jacobs. Peralta, the shortstop, stays on the left side. Swung and missed. 0-2.
That's what we like to see, that slider.
Got pretty good bite on that pitch right now.
Well, that's his bread and butter. I mean, it's so good. It gets not only left-handers, but right-handers. And it looks like it's in the strike zone and then disappears. And that's where you want to see it, down in the zone. This guy's the key to the bullpen right now.
The 0-2 bounced it in there.
And I think it would have been all year long, because with Betancourt out now, you just got to keep biding your time until he can come back. And he was your 8th inning guy. You have Joe Smith back, which you mentioned earlier. I mean, he's a setup guy. He hasn't really pitched all year, so you can't bring him in a situation like this in a tight game unless you really feel you want to match up with a right-hander. But I don't think Eric would put the pressure on him to do that.
Not first time out of the chute, probably.
No way.
1-2 pitch. Swung out and missed. Rafael Perez gets the strikeout, and the Royals go 1-2-3. Stretch time in Cleveland. Famous overstuffed sandwich on their outdoor patios. Best food and outdoor dining in town. PaninisGrill.com. Beautiful night for a sandwich on the patio. And a beautiful night to watch the Tribe. 4-4. We're tied, bottom of the 7th inning. And we'll see right-hander Juan Cruz. This guy has been pretty good, especially early in the year. He was almost lights out.
Well, after pitching the last 3 years in Arizona, doing a good job. They signed him this year, and what happens, it cost him a second-round draft pick. That's why after their first-round draft pick tonight, they go down to about 96 or 97 in the draft, so for signing Cruz as a free agent. But this guy has paid dividends. He's got a very good arm, and he's a 3-pitch pitcher. Good fastball, breaking ball, and the changeup.
He's been dinged up a little bit lately. Gave up a 2-run homer in Toronto after walking a batter. Gave up 2 runs last Saturday against Chicago. Took the loss.
You know, you look at it this way, just a matter of time before you get dinged up in this league.
Bloomquist, long throw, won't get him. Francisco beats it out for an infield single. And the go-ahead run is aboard to start the bottom of the 7th inning. Check out our Northern Ohio Toyota dealers game recap. Miguel Oliva with a solo homer helped stake the Royals to a 2-0 lead. Indians would come back. Victor Martinez scoring on the air when Hafner bounced it to first. And then Johnny Peralta drives in the tying run on a fielder's choice. It was a bizarre inning in which the Royals committed 2 errors defensively that helped the Indians come back to tie it up. Now the wheels are churning in both dugouts. Jamie Carroll is excellent in these situations. This is the guy you want up there if you're looking for a sacrifice.
Well,
Francisco has good wheels.
Right, with the speed, he's a guy you could sacrifice, you could hit and run, you could do a number of things here in this situation if they start pinching him too much at the corners.
Tien in on the grass at third. Carroll jabbed at it, missed. 0-1.
You know, we talked about Cruz. This is the 4th time that Cruz has appeared against the Indians. They have had good success against him early. CMC just totally missed that ball. In the first 3 times they faced him, Cruz has pitched 3 1/3 innings. He's given up 5 hits, and they have scored 6 runs off him.
Again, the square. Bunts this one down. Cruz throws to second, and they got him.
Well, there's a guy that he didn't hesitate, did he? That ball might have been bunted a little too hard, but Cruz never thought about it. He went there and threw a seed to second base. Some pitchers, you know, they're a little intimidated, and they're afraid to make throws like this. He bounces off the mound, and he knew one thing: I'm going to second base. But boy, you better hang loose as a defender. He had to switch feet. They get the lead runner.
So 1 away now. Victor Martinez will step in. He's 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored. One ball, no strikes.
The Royals have out-hit the Indians today 11-5. Both teams have made errors. The Indians have made 1, the Royals 2.
Takes a strike, and the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Martinez has homered 3 times in his last 7 games. You know, Carroll, after failing to sacrifice him over, would love to try and steal second here, but probably not a good combination to run with. Cruz a pretty hard thrower. Olivo has a good arm.
And he looks relatively quick to home plate. It's not like he has a high leg kick and it's something you can just get up and take off on. And you've got your meteor lineup hitting. You're going to let Victor swing the bat and also Chu on deck. Couple of left-handers.
Good count here for Victor. And that's outside 3-1. And again, the way they play this shift, Callaspo's really pulled over on the right side, so it opens up a pretty sizable hole up the middle, as you see there, just to the right of the mound for Martinez, which is where he got his base hit last time up.
Yeah, but when you're a hitter like Victor, you try and get that bat head out front. You're normally going to pull a ball on the ground. You're not going to slow it down to try and hit it up the middle or guide it. He's trying to hit one out like that. You see what I'm saying?
Well, he pulled
that
the
was a
string
good changeup. I mean,
yeah.
in that count, you're looking fastball, and Victor was going to be out in front. If it was a fastball, he would have hit it hard. But, that's why you can pull the string. And that, see a good movement on it. And he was out front. He was going to pull.
So now a 3-2 count with one out. And we'll see if Carroll takes off at first.
I would say definitely.
There he goes. And it's ball 4. So 2 on, 1 out. And Shin-Soo Choo will be the batter.
Well, the Tribe will celebrate the 20th anniversary of the movie Major League. That'll be Monday. The Brewers come to town, and all fans will receive a Rick Wild Thing Bond bobblehead. How about that? Courtesy of AM PM. There's also going to be a special post-game fireworks show. Already 20 years for that movie. Hard to believe
yeah,
it.
It is.
We were in Minnesota. We had a guy hanging over with a Rick Vaughn jersey on. It was pretty cool.
Here is Shin-Soo Choo trying to put the Indians in front now with 2 on and 1 out. Choo picked up an RBI in his last plate appearance on the fielder's choice. He has also walked and struck out. Olivo and Cruz discuss their strategy. Go-ahead run is Jamie Carroll at second base. Victor Martinez at first. Big swing and a miss, 1-1. With Choo at the plate, no exotic shifts. Outfield pretty much straight away. And some of that is due to the fact that he will hit the ball to the opposite field with as much power as guys who pull it.
Well, he stays on, and he'll hit a ball down and away to left center field. He's not afraid to shoot it that way. He's definitely not a pull hitter.
Now the 1-1. Good pitch. 93 on the black. 1-2.
Well, now is when you make that adjustment and say, I better look away and go to try and hit it that way.
Juan Cruz with Mark DeRosa to follow. Trying to punch out Choo here. And the 1-2 is up high. Evens the count. Shin-Soo Choo with a chance to break the tie here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Juan Cruz taking a little too much time. Jamie Carroll representing the go-ahead run is at second base. And on the 2-2 pitch, it's low, full count. Trey Hillman is trying to figure out whether Juan Cruz is going to load the bases or get out number 2 right here. "3-2. Check swing foul back toward the on-deck circle. And now Chu says, did I swing at a strike?
Well, I mean, no, he's just, you got to protect. It's 3-2. He may not have wanted to get started on that. He's going to ask Chuck Merriweather to check out because he's got such a good eye. But when it's close, I say go ahead, get after it. In a situation when you have runners in scoring position, you certainly do not want to take a called third strike. You want to put the ball in play somewhere.
Again, the 3-2. Chu fouls it back out of play. Took a full rip that time. And a 94-mile-an-hour heater went back up into the seats. Again, from the 7th inning on, the Indians have batted .279 as a team and scored over 100 runs this year. Two on with one out here in the home half of the 7th, and the payoff pitch. And again, it's fouled back. It's an 8-pitch at bat for Shin-Soo Choo. And already 18 pitches for Juan Cruz here in the 7th inning. This is only the 4th batter he's faced as right-hander Jamie Wright is loosening. Again, the 3-2. And it hit him. So the bases are loaded. Carroll to third. Martinez to second. Chu to first. Second Indians batter hit by a pitch here tonight. And the bases are loaded for Mark DeRosa. That's the 42nd time the Indians have been hit by a pitch this year, most in the majors. They're on pace to be pelted well over 100 times. They set the major league record with 103 hit batters last year, and they're on their way to breaking that record again.
They may get that by All-Star break.
Trey Hillman and Bob McClure discussing options, and it looks like he's going to make a move right here. So with DeRosa coming to the plate with the bases loaded and only one out, Trey Hillman is going to go to his big right-hander, Jamie Wright. But we've got a timeout in Cleveland. Tied at 4 in the bottom of the 7th. .44 our score, and the Indians have loaded the bases for the 2nd inning in a row. They scored 4 times in the 6th to tie it. Now a chance to take the lead here in the 7th. There's one out. Mark DeRosa will be the hitter, and he'll be facing big right-hander Jamie Wright.
This guy can be tough on right-handers. Big right-hander has good sink to his pitches. He has pitched pretty well against the Indians this year. He's been in, this will be the 5th game he's been in, covering 4 2/3 innings, 3 hits, a couple of earned runs. There's a big one out there right now for the Indians. A go-ahead run at third base in less than 2 outs. And another chance for a big inning here. They put 4 on the board last inning in the 6th, thanks to some terrible Royals defense.
Now here is Mark DeRosa. 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored. And he had a big rip at a good fastball, but came up empty. Jamie Wright gave up a 2-run home run to B.J. Upton in his last outing on Thursday. He was charged with the loss in that game. Long fly ball, deep right field, Guillen back, it's gone, a grand slam! Mark DeRosa empties the bases with a drive to the lower deck in right field, and the Indians take an 8-4 lead just like that.
This is going to be our Pepsi home run replay, and it's a good one to see. It'll be a refreshing one to see because it's going to be the big grand slam on a slider out over the plate. He stayed on nicely. Boy, 1 swing of the bat and 4 runs are in. And the Indians back after they were down 4-0. It's 8 unanswered. And Mark DeRosa with his 10th home run, which ties Victor, the Indians' 3rd slam this year.
His 5th career grand slam. And now Travis Hafner takes a strike.
So 3 of those runs chalk up to Cruz.
See DeRosa talking to Martinez about that drive he drilled to right field.
Well, that's got to feel good, but you get up there in that situation.
Especially when the other team goes to their bullpen to almost match up with you.
I mean, now DeRosa has 42 RBIs. He takes over the team lead. He ties Victor with 10 home runs. And, you know, we were talking about him earlier as, you know, quietly he's just coming along. And as we said, he's a grinder.
Two-one to Hafner. Bounces it back to the mound. And Wright takes care of him. 2 down. Well, let's go back to the STO studios right now for a Ford Sports Update with Al Pulowski.
Well, guys, out in Chicago today, Brian Anderson did this. A 2-run homer off left-hander Dontrell Willis. That tied the game in the bottom of the 5th inning. Sox still batting with 2 outs and a runner on second, but the Tigers and White Sox now tied at 3. Back to you.
Kelly Shopik takes a strike. Tommy tells me that half of DeRosa's home runs this year have either tied a game or put the Indians ahead, which is always one of those statistics that tell you he's hitting home runs when they matter.
Well, that's exactly right. Out of the 10, 5 of them. That's nice when you get one out that either ties it up or gives you the lead. Those are big hits, absolutely.
Shopik drove in a run his last time up with a sacrifice fly out of right field. Looks at a ball in the dirt. Shopik tonight has singled, and he's also been hit by a pitch.
That's funny. Now that I look at it, the same 4 guys scored in the 6th and the 7th inning.
That is odd.
I'm just looking. I looked down at my card. I said, "I'll be darned."
All right, all ready to go now. 1-2 pitch coming up. Kelly lays off, evens the count. Well, in the 6th inning, it was the defense that really hurt the Royals. They committed 2 errors. Here in the 7th, a walk and a hit batter led to their undoing. Shopik lines one to right, coming hard to make the catch is Guillen, and the inning over. But the grand slam by Mark DeRosa has put the Indians in front now by a score of 8-4.
Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Eight-4, Tribe now on top as we go to the 8th inning. And defensively, Eric Wedge has moved Ben Francisco from center over to left field, and he's put Trevor Crowe in the game in center. Trevor Crowe made a couple of very fine defensive plays over the weekend in Chicago. Alberto Callaspo, Martin, and Miguel Olivo to bat here in the 8th for Kansas City against Rafael Perez, who got a strikeout to end the 7th inning. And a ground ball single in the left for Callaspo to start the 8th.
This is something, isn't it? They've hit the Indians 12-6, but the Indians have outscored them 8-4.
Well, I mean, they took advantage of the errors in the 6th inning, and then they took advantage of a walk and a hit batter and made the most of the balls they did put in play. Martin singled and scored his last time up in the 6th inning. Did he go too far? He did, says Mike Riley.
Yes, he did. Good call.
And a good pitch right there to ring him up. Second strikeout for Rafi Perez. One down here in the 8th. Back in the 7th inning. One swing of the bat.
That's got to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. Anytime a guy hits a grand slam, you got to love it. Third time for the Indians this year, and that is the difference in the ball game. Home run number 10 for Mark DeRosa.
We've got a timeout here at Progressive Field. Eric Wedge going to make a move to his bullpen. Matt Hergis coming on here in the 8th inning with a runner at first base and one out. Hergis making his 11th appearance for the Indians. Terrific ERA of just 1.13. And he's really become a reliable late inning reliever for Eric Wedge. He gets by on guile.
Well, he's a veteran.
Confidence.
You remember when Colorado had that year in, what was it, 07? He pitched at a very good year for him. You know, a guy that they certainly, I'm sure when they signed him, went down there, was going to help Buffalo out. Little did they know he was going to be up here and helping out the Tribe.
There's a ground ball to third. Carroll goes to second, gets one. The turn is made by Barfield. Splendid play. And the twin killer gets the Indians out of the 8th. 5-4-3 around the horn they go. It stays 8-4 Tribe. 8-4. Tribe on top. Going to the bottom of the 8th inning. Matt Herges came in, got the double play ball. Now the Indians will face right-hander Roman Colon. No wins or losses, ERA 4.91. Colon will face Peralta, Barfield, and Francisco. Well, Matt Herges just continues to get the job done time in, time out.
Colon, a guy that spent 4 seasons in the majors. Last time I remember seeing him in Detroit, he was there a couple of years ago. I think he came to Detroit from Atlanta.
Up the gut, Peralta with a base hit. And the leadoff man aboard here in the 8th inning. This scoreboard update brought to you by Coors Light. Frost brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Don't forget, you can spend the day golfing with celebrities from the world of pro sports, Indians and MLB alumni, and more at the Cleveland Indians Charities Celebrity Golf Classic coming up Monday, August 3rd at Quail Hollow. Golf breakfast, lunch, post-golf cocktail party, live and silent auctions. Visit Indians.com/golf for all the details. You can also call them at 216-420-HITS to sign up now. Always a great day of golf.
Chance to try out the new R9 that our boy David brought up today.
I think you'll have a chance to try it before then.
Well, I may have to go out and take a few practice swings.
Just a few.
And you're not? You won't?
No, I'll be studying.
Good luck. Yeah, tailor-made equipment you'll be studying.
Swing and a miss, and Barfield is out on strikes, 1 down.
Well, the Bud Light party deck in Progressive Field is a great party area. It's out in right field. Game tickets start at just $40, include all-you-can-eat buffet, and a fantastic view. Call 216-420-HITS for full information.
Ben Francisco 1 for 4. Takes the first pitch strike. Colon deals, and Francisco takes another strike, 0-2.
Well, the win tonight for the Indians would get them out of the basement for the first time all year long. They would jump ahead of Kansas City by a half a game.
One ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, it'd be a heck of a way to start this 9-game homestand. We told you before, they've got their work cut out. They're going to be at home for a while.
3 against the Royals, 3 against the Cardinals, 3 against the Brewers.
And then, you know, our next road trips interleague, we jump right back into Chicago, except we go to the north side. Come home for an off day and then back to Pittsburgh. So it's a pretty good schedule.
Ground ball, double play style, 6-4, 3 on the twin killer. Nicely dug out by Butler on the back end. 8 complete, 8-4 Tribe. 8-4 our score, 9th inning here at Progressive Field. Time now for our Northern Ohio Buick Pontiac GMC performance of the game. Mark DeRosa with his 5th career slam in the 7th broke the 4-4 tie.
Well, it was a big hit, a slider out over the plate. He stayed on and drove it to right center field, and I like that bottom stat, 5 of half his home runs have tied or given the Indians a lead, and that one gave them the lead, and hopefully it's for good here in the 9th as Kerry Wood comes on for the 23rd time with a 2-2 record, a 5.59 ERA. And I mean, I just continue to shake my head. It's amazing. It's not a safe situation for him, a 4-run lead. But it's tough to get him into safe situations the way it's been this year.
And he looks at ball 1 down low, does Willie Bloomquist. Now, the hardest thing for a manager when you've got a closer is to try to keep him sharp, because you walk that line between overwork and
not enough
work.
Well, he had to come in Sunday's game because he had to pitch. He came in the 8th inning Saturday to pitch to one hitter. Eric had to use him Sunday because he hasn't been pitching. It was a 4-run lead. You had yesterday off, and here we come back again. It's a 4-run lead, and you got to get him right back out there to get him sharp or keep him sharp.
Didn't miss by much, but it's 3-1 now. White Sox Tigers still tied at 3, bottom of the 6th in Chicago. And Kerry Wood walks the leadoff man. Bloomquist down to first. Let's check out the results of tonight's Alltel text poll question of the game. Majority of viewers tonight feel the Indians are primed for a good homestand. Between 6 and 7 wins. I tell you, they go 6-3 on this homestand, it would be hugely, wildly successful, I would say. There goes the runner. And Coco Crisp fouls it back. Why would he be sacrificing?
Why would he even be bunting that pitch when Bloomquist was off and running? He was 3/4 of the way down. Just take it. I mean, why is he bunting? He's trying to bunt for a base hit because you need base runners. But he had a huge jump. I mean, they're not paying attention to him anyway, although Victor is still right there now.
Now the 0-1. Way outside. Crisp tonight has walked. He has laid down a sacrifice bunt. He has struck out and he has singled. There goes the runner again. Strike called, inside corner, 1-2 the count. Willie Bloomquist picks up his, let's see, that's his 11th stolen base of the year. That's his 3rd steal of the game.
Well, and they have 5, but I mean, here they don't care about him. The reason why he gets a stolen base is because Victor was up around the first base bag.
The 1-2. Ground ball hit right at the shortstop. Peralta will look him back, throw him out. 1 away.
This is Kerry Wood's 23rd appearance this year, and he's only had 10 save opportunities.
Well, you know as well as I do, though, if this team were to get on a roll, those save opportunities could come in bunches. But that's something that has to happen. This team would need to get on a roll where they win maybe 5 out of 6.
Well, it'd be nice. I mean, it'd be nice to put a streak together. It's just that they haven't been able to do that. They had that one winning streak here against Tampa, and that was it. It's been tough to win back-to-back games for him this year, and that's hard to do.
Well, winning 2 out of 3 in Chicago, a chance here to take the win. Would give them 3 out of their last 4 and maybe a little momentum heading into tomorrow.
Again, as we talked about, Matt, series. You got to win the series. Look
there
out.
Goes the bat.
Boy, right into the Diamond Suites. That's a nice souvenir. You certainly don't expect that.
Nice
Fine
grab.
tire and all. You don't expect that when you come to the ballpark, especially when you're sitting down there, unless someone reaches over and hands it to you. That's a tough way to get it right there. And, wow, it landed, didn't hit anybody. Oh, look what I found. Thanks.
Can I keep this? Can I
Yeah,
take
right.
this home?
Looked like she stole it.
Just don't hit anybody with that. Now the 1-2 pitch. Struck him out looking. 2 down here in the 9th. And Billy Butler will be the batter now for the Royals.
Well, that's heat right there.
Not sure what DeJesus was looking for, but that pitch was right there for him.
Might have been looking for that slider.
Yeah.
And that's what
Good
happens.
point.
When you sit and look for that breaking ball and you get the express, you got no chance. You can't even adjust to have to foul it off.
Butler 1 hit in 4 trips tonight. Swing and a miss. Stick around following the ball game for the Conrad's postgame show. We'll look back at the highlights, talk with one of the heroes, and look forward to Game 2 tomorrow, which comes your way here on STO. Great matchup. Carl Pavano going for win number 7 against Gil Mesh. That'll be at 7 o'clock tomorrow night right here on Sports Time Ohio. What Pavano, I missed that game over the weekend, but he went the distance, didn't he?
It was great.
What a job.
Yes, he was. Complete game shutout, 6-0.
Now the 1-1. Outside.
Keeps right on rolling. That was the Indians' first complete game this year.
Now the 2-1 pitch. Tapper back to the mound. Careywood will flip it to first. Game over. Indians get the win. What a job tonight by the Tribe, down 4-0 going into the bottom of the 6th inning. They rally back to tie it with 4 in the 6th, win it with a grand slam in the 7th. 8-4 the final here tonight. And the Indians are now out of last place. They're out of the cellar. They pass Kansas City and move into 4th place in the AL Central.